Good day, everyone. This is JOMO Climate Initiative, and this is the first edition of our series, Nigerian Waste Palava. And this is going to be we're going to be talking about Nigeria's waste Palava. We use the word Palava because it relates to us in Nigeria. We like that word, and it shows that it's something that we need to take serious and important because we need to be looking at the future of our nation and the future that we are handing over, the nation we are handing over to our children and future generations. So with me, I have some very awesome people, and we'll be having this conversation on this our first series. So this is just going to give an overview. Today we're talking about we're just going straight to Nigeria's waste, talking about specifics and stuff. So I have some people on board. I have Moshokbe and I have Juwon Saromi, Moshokbe Kesha and Juwon Saromi. So they'll be introducing themselves to us. We also have Deepo. Deepo will be joining us very soon. And once we get on board, and I'm sure these people are here to give us wonderful insights, perspective, and knowledge. So stay tuned. We're talking about the waste Palava in Nigeria. I would like my co-anchors to introduce themselves to us. And Shokwe, would you introduce yourself to us? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Moshokwe Kisha, but I can call myself Moshokwe Green. Haha. Because I'm here because I have a passion for environmental development, and I know we all can see the problems we face with environmental development in Nigeria and the challenges we all face in terms of waste management. So we're here to rub heads, rub minds, put thoughts together and see how we can, in our own little ways, contribute to the development of that sector in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Shokwe. Yes, it's important to contribute to development of our economy in a sustainable way. Thank you, Shokwe. So over to you, Juwon. Introduce yourself to us, please.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Sarmi Juwon. Data analyst, and my passion is looking for a way we could use data to actually solve this waste Palava. Getting information that could enhance proper decision making, that could improve waste management in Nigeria. And I believe if we have this data, we could use it in improving the waste management aspects, and in turn is going to give a lot of important benefits to the citizens and the economy of the country.
All right,
thank you
very much. Thank you, John. I really appreciate that. One thing I picked up from what you said was getting information, getting insight from data to tackle the environmental problem. And we see that our country in the latest, in the recent times, has been moving into the tech space. We've been having a lot of agri-tech, fintech, food tech, a lot of tech companies bringing up to solve problems that existed in such sectors. So it's good to, I'm sure you're one of the pioneers in solving our environmental problem in Nigeria. Now let's go straight down to the topic, and we're talking about waste. So the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what is waste? What do we consider waste? So Shokbe, what do you think waste is? What is waste? Why are we talking about waste? What is waste? Please, share something with us, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to speak in the words of my, lecturer. I would like to say a mentor I like that introduced me to the environmental space. She told us that one man's waste is another man's resource. So since then, I kind of stopped calling it waste and I started calling it resource.
Sure.
So, waste definitely to one person is any unwanted material that you think or you feel like you no longer need.
All right.
But to somebody else, it could be a resource, it could be a need, it could be a want. So that's why I think it varies based on, different people. So to me, waste is resource for different people.
That's nice. That's nice. So one thing I picked is, some people, an item could be a waste. To some people, that item would be a resource. And that reminds me of a term in industrial ecology where there is no waste. The principle of industrial ecology is there is no waste. There's nothing for waste. Zero waste. And so, John, what do you think? Why do you think people make a decision to describe the thing as waste? Why would they describe something as waste if it could be a resource? John?
Okay, I feel why majority of us term the resource as waste is because according to some people, waste can be defined as items, as objects that are not useful to them anymore. So whenever it's not useful to them and they are not enlightened by that, another person might find this, then they term it waste. So what I'm just trying to say is, waste itself is termed a material that is not in use anymore is termed waste because he or she that termed it waste doesn't have knowledge about what it can be converted to or what use it can have for another person. So that's why it's termed waste. So I feel with proper education, proper sensitization, we all are going to realize or come to an actualization that waste, as we call it, can also be useful as a resource for other people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John.
Sorry, can I just chip in something, just an addition, to what John said. Yes, we spoke about waste being, waste to a particular person because of the lack of awareness of, what to do with that material. Sometimes it might not just be awareness. Sometimes it might be the non-existence of, let me say, alternatives. Do you get, or non-existence of processes? Just like if we use plastic waste, for example.
All right.
Most of us use single-use plastic bottles, food bottles and stuff like that. Knowing that these things can also still be converted to other things.
That's true. That's true.
Because there is no facility, there's no strategy in place, there's no this in place. If it's going to, how would I put it, eat out of your way of doing things, then you rather just dispose of it, even when you know that it can still be turned to something else. Sorry.
Yeah.
So aside just the awareness, that's not the only restriction to why people have waste.
That's true. So from what you guys have just said, I can pick out like three things. The first thing is information and education. People are not adequately educated on what a resource could be, or what the term as waste could be converted to, or what could be done with what they term as waste. And one suggested that sensitization is a way to tackle this problem. Now, what Shokwe brought in the perspective that there may not be infrastructure or technology, the right technology needed to treat this waste or to convert the resource we tag as waste into useful material for our daily activity or for the consumption of man, or to be used in industrial process. So it's not the awareness. Then maybe I'm looking at it in this way, that what could be the problem if you have, so you're saying if we have information, we have sensitization, education on waste management and resource, or let's say on industrial ecology, which covers waste, zero waste and everything, and we also have technology. Now we're talking about technology, we're talking about applying science to convert these resources, and not just applying science, having the equipment that would transform. You talked about plastic. If there was no industry, I love the word industry, let's use industry. If there was no demand, or there was no industry to convert that into a demand that people want or a demand that needs to be met in the country, it's cause a lot of problem, and people will just, and it reminds me that people won't go out of their way to say, okay, I have like tons of waste and I don't know what to do with it. I can't throw it away, I can't dispose it because I'm still waiting for a technology to be developed. People would naturally want to get the waste out of their environment and they do it somewhere. So that leads us to, how do people treat waste? Now we have discovered, okay, we have waste normally. So how do we manage waste? Okay, JOMO has his hand raised. So JOMO, please come in. You want to drop in something?
I just wanted to chip in something while you were talking. You mentioned the fact that information is very important. And as Shokwe said earlier, that one man's waste might be another man's resource. So I feel in order for us to manage this waste, in order for us to reduce this waste, we should know where resources are needed and where these resources are not needed. What I mean is, for example, if in a particular community A, they take pet drinks a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, pet bottle a lot. And another community prefers taking it directly from a cup, a reusable cup. Then you would see that you should, understanding this data, as I earlier said, would give you an idea of where to focus more, so that you don't end up generating more waste. Because for some people, they don't prefer to use a bamboo brush stick. They don't prefer to use something recyclable. You can't just force it on people, because if you have all these things in place, that doesn't still mean they are going to do it. So I feel if we gradually understand people from data, from information they've given, if you understand them, we'll be able to penetrate this eco-conscious waste reduction lifestyle into them. That's just what I wanted to chip in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, JOMO. Thank you very much. And you brought us to something, and one thing that popped in my head was we need to do a social engineering, because some people would not want to use some recyclable stuff. For some people, like, why? I prefer to use what I'm already using before. So why are you asking me to? What are you saying about doing this? What is this new product, or what is this new way of doing this thing that you want me to do? Do you get? So it's one thing that reminds me, we need to, as I said, penetrate into the mindset of this of people around us. And he also mentioned that we also need to be able to be specific in our action. And that brings me to the question that, when we are saying who is responsible? Who is the responsible person? Now you said we need to attack this issue. Who are the we? Is it the government? Is it the private institutions? Is it the industry? Is it the manufacturers of this waste stuff? Is it the people that are consuming this stuff? Because because this waste problem is a problem that when you analyze it, you see that there are faults everywhere. Not faults everywhere. Let's say as technology developed, people found themselves doing these things. They found new inventions. Now we are seeing those inventions. We are seeing the side effects of those inventions, the cons of those inventions, or things that made life easier. And we are seeing, okay, these things actually have brought a lot of mess, and they have spoiled the natural cycle of life, or natural cycle of materials and resources that God deposited here on earth. So who is responsible? How do we tackle these things? JOMO, because you actually have led us into this sphere of discussion. So what do you think? How do we take responsibility for this, managing this our waste problem? How do we attack it? From what level? Just give us some insight on that. I'm sure we can spend the whole day talking about it, but I just want you to just give us a rough summary of your idea of who is responsible, and one of the people responsible, and what they can do, and how they can attack it. Thank you very much. JOMO, over to you.
All right. So, as you said, each and every sector, industry has a part to play in the reduction of waste and the management of waste. But the government also has a lot of role to play in providing policies that could help monitor this waste management. But I feel it shouldn't be left to the government. I feel people that are passionate about the environment, people that are eco-conscious, people that are concerned about waste management could come together as a community, as a group, and everyone brings in their skills and everything. Then we sit down together and look for a way to tackle this waste menace. We need to tackle this waste palava passionately. And the reason why I said the government shouldn't be the key people we all look to solve this problem is because most times people in the government might not have that passion as people that actually have the interests of eco-consciousness. Like, they have the passion to actually solve this waste management issues. So I really give credit to organizations that bring together like minds, and other events that bring together like minds, like the climate reality and other NGOs. So I believe if we all come together, we are going to be able to attack this thing with passion. Because if we leave it to the government, I'm not saying the government will be so sentimental and just money driven, but obviously the government, they have to generate revenue, and if people are passionate about solving this, about solving this, so you have to even volunteer to solve. So it's not based on what they're going to do. And I feel to do that was going to confirm.
But sorry to cut you short. Something that though with our time, and there was something that, just to add to what you said before you go into another sphere of the discussion, something that you said reminds me of what happened in the recent elections, the recent US elections. As you said, we need to be responsible. And the government is a representation of its people, a reflection of its people. You get? So if you have, as you said, if we are now conscious, eco-conscious, and which is one of our motives and our motto in JOMO Climate Change Initiative, that we need to be conscious. We need to raise eco-conscious generations, eco-conscious people who are conscious. So when we vote, we know we are voting for someone. We are putting the people in government to be eco-conscious. Like you said, passion is required, and passion and intent. If you're not intentional about solving our eco problem issues or our environment climate change issues, if there's no passion and there's no intention, we would just keep talking about it, debating about it, and there will be no impacts, no actions, no improvements in the discussion. Now, we've talked a lot about waste and this thing. Now I want us to go, because this is our topic, and the theme of our series is Nigeria's waste palava. You get? Now I want us to go Nigerian. Let's come down to our country. Nigeria is one of the most populous countries in the whole world, and the most populous in Africa. Now, one question that keeps coming to my head is, okay, does our population is our population one of the major factors? Is our population, our very growing population, our very important, our booming economy, not booming economy, our booming population that doesn't want to stop increasing? I don't know, we've tried a lot of family planning, and God is helping us though. But can this be a major factor to the waste problem we have in Nigeria right now? Shokwe, you wanted to say something before, so you can drop your comments on what we're talking about before, then also move into this. Is our population in Nigeria one of the major factors causing this waste palava in Nigeria?
Yes, thank you, Shegun. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to, on the question about whose responsibility waste management is, like John said, it's an integrated thing. It's the responsibility of everybody. So you have the private companies and industries, you have the government, and you also have every member of the public. So that's ranging from the NGOs to the MPs and all other organizations like that. And like he said, there's so many organizations right now springing up and advocating for climate justice, which is very important because we need people to hold the government accountable. We need people to hold the private industries accountable. We need people to put them on their toes to make sure that, they're doing the right things, for the good of everybody. So that's the only way we can really achieve a circular economy, which is our strive. So now moving into the question of if increase in population is a major factor or plays a major role in our environmental pollution. If I'm clear, that's the question.
Yeah, that's it, yes.
Yes, let's see from the origin of, environmental pollution. It all started with man's increase in population, and then our increase in demand to meet our needs. So as every day, as we're, developing, as we're increasing, we're looking for new ways, new technologies, new strategies to make sure we want to better our lives. But we cannot leave out that environmental aspect. You can't take the social and the economic aspect and leave out the environmental aspect. It won't work. So yes, I believe that it's one of our major problems. Not the only problem, but it's definitely a major problem for us.
A contributing factor, yes. So while we were discussing, our third or anchor on this podcast is just walked in and came online, and we've been expecting him since. So Dipo, welcome. And please kindly introduce yourself, then also tell us, apart from population, what do you think can be one of the factors contributing to Nigeria's waste palava or waste problem, any way you want to target?
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm sorry for my tardiness. My name is Ajabi Oladipupo. I'm an environmentalist. I have always had this interest in the environment, and one particular part of the environment I have had interest in is the portion of waste management. So, from the topic today, the waste management Palava of Nigeria. Yes, population is part of part of the issues. It's part of what contributes to the problem of waste management in our country. Relating to population, I would want to say the reason why we are having this kind of problem is, yes, related to population, also to our level of preparedness as a people, as a government, the level of the kind of policies that should have been put in place that would have been sustainable. I was having a discussion last week with someone from the older generation, and he was telling me of how things were when he was small. There was some sort of orderliness, and we now got to the part of discussing about waste. He said then he was living in a rented apartment, so they were all in a compound. He said after because they have this thing they call environmental sanitation, and there are these people in our language they are the environmental officers. They're called wole. So if you don't clean your environment, or if you mismanage your waste, the front of your gutter is dirty and everything, blah, 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 they would arrest you. You will be tried in. There are always these little mini courts around that you'll be tried. You'll be told to engage in community service. You might even serve like short prison terms and all. That there was this
there was this some sort of checks around, and you don't just put your waste together and just burn it in front of you. No, the governments were actually active then in terms of dealing with waste. So one thing, the reason why I'm relating this to population is our country was never really prepared for the population boom that happened from the 1960s and 70s to the year 2010. We're not really prepared for it. We see that the rise in population was sporadic. That's from having in Nigeria around in, as far as I was reading one data, as far as 2000 to 2010, there was like a times 10 population growth in our country, Nigeria. So and if you look at politically from the year 2000 to year 2010, how many governments have we had around that time? From 1999 to 2003, 2003 to 2007, 2007 to 2010. No. I just want to point out that that we had 3 sets of governments. So imagine a government working on the data it got in the year 1999-2000. That normally, if plus with you don't know what can happen in the nearest future like that. So if you are in government around the year 1999, year 2000, you'll be making your projections that what are the things I want to put in place that will be sustainable enough for maybe, let's say, a population growth of maybe in the next 5 years we will have like ×2 population growth or ×3 population growth. But on getting to the year 2005, it is ×10 population growth, and everything just breaks into shambles. So one problem I was able to point out is that relates to the population boom is our level of preparedness as a people and as a government. That's the problem I can identify. Are we talking about to solve that now, or it's just to identify the problem?
It's good. I think you kind of did both in a way. You've informed us on how we could also solve it in a way. So we've heard about the government, our change in government, and our inability to prepare. And I think that's a general Nigerian problem. We don't really prepare for things. I don't know if we plan a lot, but I don't think our plans prepare us for things or prepare us for the future. Yes. It's never treating. I don't know if we have to make a curriculum in our educational system or our leadership. We need to be prepared for leadership for the future. We don't prepare for future. We just consume now, and there are a lot of studies into that. Yeah. So we are kind of running out of time. I know we can't just finish everything we want to talk about. But one key question that I want to ask is, in the United States, every country has its waste problem. Everyone has his own major waste problem. But I want us this is directed to Shokpe. What is Nigeria's major waste problem? We know we have a lot of waste management problem, but what is our major palava? What gives us the biggest headache in Nigeria when it comes to waste problem? Shokpe, over to you, please. Shokpe, are you still there? All right, I think Shokpe is currently kind of having some network issues or so. So do you want what do you think Nigeria? I'll push the question to you. John, what do you think Nigeria's major problem is? What is causing? What what do you think is our major problem? We may not know it, but we may also know it. But what do you think is our major problem? Do you want over to you?
So I feel the major problem in Nigeria as regards to waste management is actually waste collection, or let me say waste disposal, because we don't have a good waste recovery system. For example, if I buy a bottle of Pepsi, I have to walk all the way to either my house, or I have to get to the office, or where I could find a way to dispose this waste, which is not supposed to be so. Because whenever people hold on to material that they don't use for long, they tend to throw it away to the nearest site they find, and that affects the waste management system. And another issue is the packaging. I know say they talk say packaging, that everything with better packaging go sell, but most times we do unnecessary packaging. And when we tend to realize the cost of these resources that we are using, once there is a need to stop using excess material for over packaging, then I guess we would be able to reduce waste in that aspect. So that's the two things I could talk about now because of time.
All right, thank you very much, John. Thank you for being time conscious. So I think Shokwe is back on, and she'll surely want to share something with us too. Yeah, Shokwe, over to you.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about the breaking transition the other time.
Okay. Yeah,
Jomo has said, quite a lot about the major issue. Then I'll just like to add, like he said, I'll say the existence of, let me say, policies and sustainable strategies. Because aside, if we had strategies and policies in place, that would show that, okay, companies have to, let me say, they are responsible for the life cycle of their products from the start to the finish. Or we ensure that people are aware and people understand the use and the effects of most of these products, then I believe that will go a long way. So aside even, having collection, having the regular LOMA and our waste agencies that collect this waste, if we don't have strategic uses and strategic processes or transformation processes for this waste, then it's really still going to remain in the system. So we're just going to be collecting it, taking it somewhere, dumping it like we do at our dump sites. And then we know how that affects us in terms of climate change and global warming as well. So it's I think that problem is one that we should really, really tackle. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And we going to have some things. We're going to have some other discussions on the topic, and we'll surely dive in and go deep into the topic. But from what I got from what you said, we have issues with our waste collection system. We don't collect waste the right way. We don't do things. We are not really getting things the right way. Then we need to. I think there are policies, as Shokwe has said, there are policies, but I don't think they're enforced. Or there are either two problems with our policies. I'm sure we'll have time to talk about them later. We have two times. We have maybe the policies are there and we're not really enforcing them. But the policies are there. The policies are not meant. They're not meant for the Nigerian stratosphere economy. They're not meant for us. You get? They're not working for us. You get? So I'm sure we would surely, during the series, we'll have time to go into these various specifics and talk. So Juwon wants to say something. We're kind of running out of time, but Juwon wants to pop in something. Just kindly be very brief. Juwon, over to you.
Okay. Sorry, because of time, I'll just rush through. It's as regards to population, the increase in population. I feel if the increase in population shouldn't stand as a barrier or an hindrance to tackling this waste management crisis, because if we can leverage on the fact that there's an increase in our population, then we could use this strength to work together to, tackle the problem. Because if we look at China is supposed to be full of trash. The whole country is supposed to be full of trash everywhere you go, but they find a way to manage that. So I feel even with this increase in population, if we can re-strategize, if we could bring up strategies which we might discuss in the next series on how we can use the increase in population as our strength in tackling the waste management. And I feel that would help us, because as we've gotten to, we're about 190 million. So if we can use that, I feel we're going to go a long way, or more safe. I don't know. We're going to go a long way.
All right, thank you very much, Joa. So today, we are drawing a curtain on today's episode of this podcast, and we've learned a lot from what is waste. Why do we consider this resource as waste? How do we consider this item as waste? Then we also talked about how waste relates to us in Nigeria, and we talked about how the growth in population, the ever-growing growth in population in Nigeria is causing a big problem in Nigeria, and could it be one of the factors of our waste management problem? We really talked about a lot, and we really couldn't go into specifics. We couldn't go and finish everything, you get. But now, I want you guys to watch out for our next series and next episodes that will be coming up after this. We're having more people, more insight, more perspective, more knowledge. And as our goal at JOMO Climate Change Initiative, our aim is to raise eco-conscious generations, not just for a generation, but generations that can also do the same for other generations coming after them. So this podcast was brought to you by JOMO Climate Change Initiative, a youth-led environmental NGO, and we've just told you about our motto and our vision. So we would like to join us next time, probably the same time when we release our podcast, and we really appreciate that you also share this with people so you can also enlighten them, as we talked about today, as enlightenment and sensitization is one of the key tools in changing the mindset of people towards climate change, towards waste management, and towards almost everything that needs to be changed on Earth. So from us here, I wish we had more time to say goodbye, but I'll just say, I don't want us to do last words because we will be breaking our time limit. So I just want to say bye-bye, and we'll see you next time. So it's bye-bye from me, and you can mute and also say everyone bye-bye at the end of this wonderful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank
It was
you.
nice having you guys on board. Yeah. All right, bye.
It was nice to be on board. Bye.